little bit?
Welcome to the Simply Be Found Huddle with Dean and Rob. And if it's your first time joining us, welcome. And if it is not your first time and you're coming back, welcome back. We really, truly appreciate you being here. We talk about everything business and marketing. Dean, what are you seeing from members? What are some of the top questions you got asked last week?
Oh, geez, Rob. It was everywhere. A lot of people are still struggling with trying to get their information out there based, trying to talk about their business. I mean, we talk about that all the time, the name, address, phone number, that consistency, and just talking about their business, putting some stuff out there on social media. So it's always the same questions, but it really is coming down to a lot of people are saying, they're just trying to balance what needs to happen to get things out there. When you use the listings engine, it's kind of a one and done, if you will. It's not, you still got to update and make sure it's current. But once that's done, you kind of just let it go. And I think a lot of people are struggling with that process. Are you kind of seeing the same thing where people are doing stuff and they're not seeing it happen quick enough? There's not a patience. Because it's organic. And we've talked about the time frame for organic growth or discovery. And right. I think a lot of businesses they're so used to instant verification, not verification, instant gratification. That's the word I'm looking for, not verification, gratification on stuff. Are you kind of seeing the same thing on your end a little bit?
I do, and I really think that a lot of businesses are struggling with people wanting things to happen right away in certain pieces. And I think it's not just us that are experiencing that. I think there's a lot of businesses out there that are experiencing that. But I blame Amazon for a lot of that because everything, I mean, if you look at your other business, I look at my other businesses, everybody wants everything right away. Why do I have to wait? Why can't you ship it? Why can't it be same-day delivery? Why can't it be all this? And I blame Amazon because Amazon created that whole entire mindset of, I want it now. But when it comes to your organic SEO and it comes to doing the listings engine or the social media sweet piece of it, it's not going to be instant. It's a set it, it's a forget it, it's a come back and tweak it every so often. Right. I see people that go, well, I'm still not getting the results I want. You did a profile review 8 weeks ago, but I'm still not seeing what I want. And I'm like, okay, well, how are you tracking things? And I see people that are tracking how their local SEO is working in old school ways. I see this problem against some of the agencies that are out there. I see it with different businesses. Everybody wants to go back to how they've always been doing it. And that's they either go to Google Analytics or they go to some kind of analytical program and they're looking for traffic that's coming to their website. And the problem with local SEO and organic SEO, they're not necessarily going to ever come to the website. Google's released all kinds of new stuff out. Bing has released new stuff out inside of search. So if we talk about those two major search engines, they have AI built into the search engine now, which is delivering results inside of the actual search engine. Google's making money because they're showing ads at the very top of that. And then they have the AI answering it and it keeps people within their area. So it used to be where you wanted to create a website, you wanted to drive traffic from those networks to that website. Now you have to make sure that website's providing the data to where you're the source on their AI system. So then somebody might want to come to it or make that phone call to you. Because inside of local SEO, it's not just about getting those hits to the website. That's a piece. It's a tracking piece. But it's only one piece of the puzzle. So when you put the whole puzzle up to the organic piece, is you got to make sure you're tracking everywhere. And the biggest thing is a lot of these search engines. So if we talk about voice search, specifically Alexa, Siri has some data, but they really don't share a lot. There's a lot of, but specifically Alexa, it provides absolutely no data. Right. All the Google products mix it into your Google business profile if someone does calls, directions, or any of that, but doesn't tell you if it was done by voice search or if it was done by search within the Google business profile. So there's really no analytics to track. So when you're tracking the information between it, you have to make sure that you are tracking it by asking questions inside of your business of, Where did you find me? How did you find me? Getting those details inside of there to be able to track if it's going to work or if it's not. But if you're not seeing the results from it, and even if you did a review 8 weeks ago, you have to communicate with your coach and say, hey, guess what? Let's get another review in. Let's look at this from a data standpoint. And why that's probably really super important there is because things change. We have some major changes that are getting ready to happen to all of local SEO. I mean, we have our entire engineer team currently working on getting those changes all the way implemented. We're going to start seeing those changes probably middle of next month, towards the end of next month, if I was to guess when they're going to start rolling out. Some of them have already been implemented. No one even knows they're in the back end. But the ones that you're really going to start seeing are going to be inside of there. And it's because things change. So when you do that data review, we're able to see that whole business picture, and we can see more data points on the back end of what networks are probably picking up and doing best guesses. Now, those data points that we pick up aren't necessarily like the reports. It's not looking like looking at Google Analytics. It's reports and systems we've created to be able to look at your data for how those search engines look at you. Does that answer your question?
It did, but I wanted to interject, and you didn't give me a chance. So I'm going to interject some things back, okay? So you're talking about tracking things and know where things are at. I'm finding a lot with my other business. I always ask, how did you find us? Is this the first time you calling us? Those kinds of things. I don't ask everybody that calls, but, I kind of, especially if I close a deal, how did you find me? How did you decide to use me? Kind of thing. Yep. I think a lot of businesses miss out on that a little bit. But I'm discovering that a lot of people never even see, like you talked about, not a lot of people even see my website. They did a search on their mobile device, or they did a search on, and it says, would you like me to call those or get directions? Is kind of the prompt, and so if you don't have a pen, but you say, I don't want directions. I want you to just call them because I want to talk to them. And so it's not even touching your website at that point in time. So people go, I'm not getting as much traffic anymore, because like you said, they're looking at the old analytic processes, the old reporting processes. It's not even happening. I think that was an important piece that you mentioned, is that they may not even be seeing your website, but they may have a name recognition, a brand recognition that, because you've been out there, or because you've been posting on social media, whatever, whatever the decision was. Or you may, and I've even said people say, you're the first person that's answered their phone or called me back. I've had, so that kind of falls on a different deal. But I think that's a really key point where you said is, with the new processes right now, with the search, with the AI, they're not even going to your website and then saying, oh, make that decision. Let me call them. So you're not even getting that touch point. I think it's a big piece.
So we track analytics across thousands of sites that we have inside of our ecosystem. We don't really advertise that we do websites, but we do. If someone asks, we have that option if we have space available to be able to do it. But we track thousands of different sites. And inside those thousands of different sites, this weekend, I took time to be able to go through, dive into those results of what's kind of changed out there. And most of the sites, I'm seeing a dip inside of website traffic. And it's because Google releasing out the AI piece, in my opinion. It is because Bing released out the AI piece inside of search. And it's using their website as a data point, but it doesn't count as a hit to the website because they want to keep them inside of their ecosystem. So it changes the way that you have to be able to market. So from a lot of the clients that I know that we have inside of our system are members, and I ask them, are you seeing a dip inside of traffic? There's certain ones I track, and I have major tracking inside of there that I have the relationship. I send them a text message, and they're like, yeah, but my calls are up, or my sales are up, or my leads are up. There's one contractor that said his leads are completely up, and it's because it's using that data point. It's provided them over, giving them the phone number, but keeps them inside of Google, and it goes through. Is my best guess on that. Now, what matters more at the end of the day for your business? Being found and them coming to your website, or do you want them to make contact and your sales to go up? And that becomes this, chicken and egg dance that goes across. I mean, it's one of those things to where you care about the leads coming in, you care about the sales coming in. You really don't care if they're coming to your website. Your website is a data house. And structuring that website's data is going to be what's going to make it to where then you show up inside of the search engine. So having the city or local pages, having the right schema on the site, all the things that we talk about all the time and
Right.
it broke down. But you have to make sure those data points so you come up inside of that search and you're still going to get the end result. But yet nobody's ever going to see that in an analytic that result even happened because to them it never happened.
Well, you just mentioned city pages. The other big piece that a lot of people aren't doing is the FAQ section on the
Correct.
website. I mean, it's all about information and trying to connect. And like you said, they may never even see that FAQ section, but the information is there, and that way when the search engines are happening, they pair you up better with that search query, if you will.
Well, your FAQ fits into the AEO marketing, so answer engine optimization, which is a new hot buzzword out there.
Right.
And people start getting probably phone calls of, hey, your AEO is not working, which is basically stands for being able to answer questions. People have questions about that's how people find you. They go to Google, they ask the question. They go to Chat GPT, they ask the question. They ask voice search that question. And if it can't find the answer for you, your business will never show up. Just like if you don't talk about the products and services you sell and all the solutions and problems you solve, you're never going to be able to do it. That's why we talk about that FAQ section so much, and why we talk about a great way for contractors and every business to do it is to start with that video and work their way down in that process. And I'll link to that video down in the bottom of the description or inside of the actual podcast. But it's one of those things to where you have to be able to take your information and work through those data points, because if you don't, you're going to be left behind.
Right. And that information you put out there is really important. I had one member reach out for a review, and I did the review, and I said, "Oh, I didn't know you did drywall." He goes, "I don't do drywall." I said, "Well, somewhere in your site it says you do drywall." I mean, so that's why it takes time. You got to make sure that what you have in your site is accurate about what you do for your products and services.
Well, I got asked when I was going to do a profile review last week, and they asked, well, why does it take 7 to 10 business days? And what I wanted to make very clear on that, and this is a good segue to this kind of conversation, because we don't just look at your data and go, oh, yep, that could be changed, that could be changed, that could be changed. We put in systems that go out and it looks at all the different search history. It knows what people are searching in your local area to help you be able to put that data pieces in there. So we want to make that super simple for you to be able to make those tweaks to your local profiles, so that way you go out everywhere with the right information. Now, you want to be able to update your Google page to be able to have that same information inside of it. So if we're not managing that for you, and you see a red check mark inside of our, or a red X inside of our system, and you're doing that on your own, make sure you update your Google business profile so everything matches and comes together. But we make those decisions based on all the data that we can see, which we have a ton of data that we can see on our back end and what searches is. But you know what's really interesting about all that data, Dean?
What's that?
It's all Google based.
Oh,
Google, Google's still the powerhouse for data.
right. No, I agree. They're still the big player out there when it comes to the data.
So when you look at all analytics, when you look at everything, it all comes back into the data side for Google. I mean, it points to them. They're the ones tracking all of that. They hold probably the most amount of data. So then it's really hard. So since, Alexa doesn't show the data points for everything you'd want to see in all these different searches, it's going to change the whole entire place. Now, I see a lot of SEO experts go, nope, you're wrong. We've been doing this for 10 years, and this is how you should be doing it. And I disagree. I think that SEO has been turned upside down and put on its head and spun around about 900 times and is super dizzy right now because it has completely changed.
And that's part of the reason why we do this, is because we want to talk about these changes. Not everybody's staying up on the current, and they don't dive into the data like you and I do sometimes. For some of these agencies and stuff like that, they get the information, but they're not really paying attention to trends. And I'm not saying they're doing anything wrong. It's just that that's what we're trying to make people aware, so they can ask the right questions to your marketing people that are working with you, because a lot of people use us, but they use somebody else as well, and then they say, well, we're doing it wrong or whatever. but it gets to a little bit of an opinion on some of the SEO stuff. But I think we're spot on with predictions on where we're at, where things are going to, and what we're seeing with with our large member base that we have. We see a lot of data points that we know that's happening. And I think that's really important for people to understand that,
Well, you
that's what we're doing.
Well, you and I invested a lot of money into a whole entire data science team. We invested a lot of money into our software, our engineers, everything that's in behind that scenes. And one of the biggest pieces is we invested in data, because that data is what's going to make it to where we can pivot. So since you and I don't have a board to go to, it's just you and I, we have these conversations that deep dive into these pieces. It brings a whole different unique piece, because then we talk to the team brings data sets, and we go through and we expand on that data set, and you bring a whole different level than I bring, and it brings us a whole entire different aspect to what's changing. I mean, I predict that Google's going to be having a huge update coming out, that's going to be even bigger than the last one they did, and it's going to totally change stuff all the way over. I really think they're really trying to keep people inside of their ecosystem, because they make more money.
Right.
And at the end of the day, every single search engine, it doesn't matter if we're talking voice search, if we're talking AI search, if we're talking search engines, they all want to be able to sell their product, have either paying a monthly subscription into their product or selling ads around that piece. I mean, look at YouTube. YouTube has a subscription model. It also has the whole entire ad model. So, I mean, if you're not subscribing, you're paying for the ads. If you're subscribing, you're not. It's this whole entire balancing act of, they want to make money, because inside of business, you have to make money.
Right. Well, that's why we're in business. I mean, most of us aren't a nonprofit, but even nonprofits still have to have people come to them. And we have some we talk when I just said that, we have some churches that are with us that we're helping drive people to see them, and because they still have to have whatever. So they're still in the business to make contacts or money. It takes money to keep your doors open.
It does.
So I'm just trying to say that's why we're in business, is to keep ourselves in business. It's one of those. Like you said, it's the chicken and egg thing. I mean, you discover a niche or a product or a service that is in need, and you want to put it out there, but you want to make it so that you have income coming back in.
Well, it's amazing what the churches have done. They're able to use the social media like they've never used before.
Right.
So having that whole entire social media suite, being able to explore that. So now they can take their local SEO and tie it into the social media suite to be able to spread the word of whatever their belief system is inside of there, because we have multiple different types of churches that are inside. Right. We also had Boy Scout groups that were using us to be able to spread their word, another nonprofit. All the way to enterprises using that whole piece. I mean, and all the different small businesses. So we get to see those data sets that are completely different and make those predictions and make those answers. Another question that came across that I've been asked multiple times over the last week, and I'm not sure if you've gotten this at all, of how fast can I see results, and is this a type of ad? A lot of people still get hung up on thinking that local SEO and organic SEO is no different than ads. And we're totally different than ads, because for one, we're not charging you per click. The average ad spend for getting a lead for businesses, especially contracting, home services, Angie's List, all that. I mean, they're going to spend anywhere between $50 and $150 per sale to be able to get an ad to be able to work and to actually talk to somebody, which is expensive. Organic SEO, it's all organic. So there's no cost there except for your time and the money that it takes to really get there if you use a service like simplybefound.com.
Right. No, I get that all the time also. Well, how soon will I see results? I'm not seeing results. I've been with you for a while, but so much of it depends on what you're doing. I mean, it's not just because you put your information out there means you're going to be seen. You still have to put some work in. You have to be able to do some things for your business. And it is a do-it-yourself information piece on our that we do. That helps keep your costs down, because most businesses have time, but they don't have money for staff or whatever. And that's and if they do have some people that help them, we have a lot of husband and wife teams, or or spouses that are helping each other. And that's kind of what goes on with some of the small business piece that's outside the agencies. Because agencies and the bigger companies that we work with, they have staff that puts a lot of that information out there. But everybody still has that same. They get hung up on that it's not instant, and we get it's right back into that piece we started with on the Amazon. It's not instant. It takes a little bit
Correct.
of time for it to incubate before you have results.
And you have to utilize your coach. So if you see anybody who says that comes to us inside a chat, which it does happen, hey, I'm not getting the results I'm looking for. Most of them have never requested a review of their profile data. Most of them have never used any of the marketing tools whatsoever or had anything analyzed or looked at. And most of them haven't done anything inside of there. There's a lot of them. I probably saw 7 to 10 profiles in the last week where like nothing happened. Well, they just signed up. They were expecting results the next day, and they didn't even enter any business information. Right. It's like they just were hoping, okay, well, you took my credit card, boom, it's just going to be, confetti flying down and, this huge, exciting thing, and their phone's just going to start ringing. We don't even know who you are. Right, exactly. And some of those members even want to go through, okay, well, here, you fill out our profile for us. No, we don't fill the profile out. We're a marketing tool. And we've created the tools for you to be able to do this on your own and make it super simple for you to be able to do. I mean, we have people that are, and I don't want to pick on anybody for age brackets, but I talked to an 80-some-year-old lady the other day that she got everything 100% up and going for her business, got everything filled out. Took a little bit of work, but we worked through it to be able to get her to where she is. Right. And she got so excited when she got her first customer and said that they found her on Alexa. I was like, that's awesome. But it took a little bit of time to be able to get everything worked through. And she's been in business forever. I think she's a marketing coach, or not a marketing coach, but a business coach. But it was one of those things to where it allowed everything to kind of get all the way stacked up and all the way through the whole process. But it's utilizing the tools, utilizing the team to be able to get the most from it. We're not going to reach out to you and say, hey, guess what? This isn't happening. We are working. If you do have any problems inside of there to get those automatic emails, we don't have those put into the system yet. We try to find them and notice them, but if you just signed up, you got to put your information in there.
Exactly. You talked about the being found on Alexa. I had another member that was all excited that signed up and been with us for a few weeks, and he goes, I just got my first customer from Bixby. I didn't even know what Bixby was. I've never even heard of it before. And it was like, awesome. It's kind of like, because you don't know where things come from. And maybe they kind of heard us talk and say, ask where you're finding you, because that makes a difference to know where people are finding you.
And it's really interesting to see how people are finding you and what they're going to go through and do with that information, because you got to remember when you're looking at the data side, everything is connected. People are pulling data from all different sides. That's why you have to approach it to where you make sure that you're doing your social media. You have the right stuff on your website. You have everything in place to be able to really be able to take yourself to that next level.
Exactly. Can I tell you one frustration I have with some people? They've requested a business review, and we've done it for them. And then they go, well, I'm not improving. I said, well, we did a review for you. What did you do with it? And they said, well, nothing. Well, a review isn't going to do you any good if you're not going to, we don't say this is what you got to do. This is recommendations, and you need to put it in there. But you can't just say, oh, I got a review. That's going to make a difference. You still have to say, yes, this is where you're going in the right direction. If it's not in the right direction, then request, say, that's not exactly where we want to go. That's part of that coaching piece, because sometimes we may not know exactly what you want. But it's really frustrating when we do these reviews and then they go, I saw it, but I didn't do anything with it. And that's back to the piece that you've got to put some time in for your own business. You have to do that.
You do. And it comes to the process of, you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make a horse drink.
Exactly.
I mean, we can go through, we can provide a lot of information. We can provide a lot of details and put a lot of stuff out there. But if you're not willing to take that information to that next level and be able to do it, it's going to be really hard to be able to see those results. And using your evergreen content inside of social media is going to be a huge spot for you to be able to do that. And if you're not doing it, you're going to be left behind.
So So you just mentioned the word evergreen, and not everybody understands what evergreen means, Rob.
Yeah.
You're putting information about your business, what you're doing, that's timeless. I mean, and so it's always going to be out there. It isn't like you're doing just this one push on something. It's what is really good to know about. Let's say I go to the garage door piece because that was one of the ones we talked about recently. Is do these things before you have to call us. It's information that gives you value on the social media piece, but it can be reused, it can be reshared, and that's a big piece that I think some businesses miss out on that opportunity.
I think they do, and it's a lot. Evergreen to me allows you to be able to stack a lot of information up to where if you don't remember, because we're just as guilty of that. I mean, our social media has a ton of video on it, but it's missing things. I went through our YouTube; it's missing things. I mean, I can look at our website and come up with new ideas every day. Wouldn't do any good to make those changes every day, but I come up with changes every day. But I mean, it's one of those things to where the evergreen allows it to be consistently going out. So when you forget to post new things out to your social media, it's going to continue going out. Just like having the listings engine always set up, it's going to be working behind the scenes doing everything. And if you forget about it, it's still going to be working for you behind the scenes. Because what it's doing is it's looking for more opportunities, looking for new spots to be able to go to. And we're going to ping you and say, hey, guess what? We have an update. You need to fill out this information or do this, or this has changed inside of the world of SEO, or whatever might have happened. But those are going to be the things that are going to make the break the biggest way of doing it. So that's why I love Evergreen so much, is because it allows you to stack everything. And if you forget about it, at least you have something going out, which keeps your profiles active. Because there's an activity score that comes into every single thing you do. So by us pinging everything once a day inside of our networks, that's going to give you an activity score. Right. That evergreen content inside of social media will do the same thing. Do you agree?
I agree. And I think we're kind of saying the same thing. The way I visualize it in my head is a little different. And that's what when we talked about what makes us different is because I see things different than you do. And that's just really a good piece, because that's how things grow, is by saying, oh, we agree that we disagree on some things. We don't disagree on it. It's just the approach is different. And so, right. and there's no absolutely perfect approach, even on SEO and on business. I mean, we talk about the three pillars that we always talk about, and you do that.
Confidence, authority, and trust.
Right. You do that much better than I do. So, but that's the consistency out there. That's our evergreen piece right there, is that you have to be doing that. And if you're not doing it, you're going to miss out on opportunities for your business.
Exactly. Yeah, I would say that's probably one of my biggest griefs, is when we take someone and we do all that work and they don't do it, and they don't go through and do it. I mean, everybody, there's so many people looking for something for free. You can take our advice. You can go out there and do it for free. You can register yourself on all the networks. Just look at our network list, register yourself on each of them. You could do everything for free if you wanted to. We just simplify the process by giving you access to tools to do everything from one spot versus having to go in and do it in multiple different spots.
Right. And then the difference is you and I right here, the coaches.
Right. And we ping everything every single day. So you're pinging all the networks and out there. Now, there's times that, we have to, you can come to us and get that tweaks to be able to make a big difference. It's absolutely huge. So, I mean, I think that was a good conversation today.
I think it is too. And it's really consistency of putting new stuff out there when you can, and staying up to date. And that's just the biggest piece right there. But
consistency matters. Inside of the world of SEO, it's all about being consistent.
And I'm just going to kind of sidebar a little bit, because I have a lot of members that say, I don't want to put that. I'm scared that that's going to be wrong. It's not wrong to talk about your business, as long as you're talking about your business and you're not misleading. That's the key right there. Don't mislead, and don't promise things. Don't say you do things, because then you get that spam score, if you will, or you get that spam effect that can hurt your business a little bit too. But there's really nothing wrong. There's no wrong way to approach it. I mean, we recommend to do things at a certain speed, like do this once a day, then do this 5 times a week, or once a month. if you don't do it, it's not wrong. It's just these are our recommendations, and the more you do it, the better it's going to help. And that's
Yes.
what I can tell to the small business owner.
Well, I think a lot of people are very scared of doing something wrong. They feel like they're non-tech savvy, that this is a high-tech piece when we've made it very low-tech. I mean, if you can fill out a form, you can use any of our tools, in my opinion.
Right.
And I think we've proven that across the member base that we have inside of there. But you have to be able to take that first step. And if you're not being found organically and you're relying on something, I mean, this is to the contractors out there. If you're buying leads from, Home Advisors, Angie's List, which I think they're now the same thing. I can't get that wrapped around.
I don't remember either.
But if you're buying your leads, if you're going through and you're spending money on all this amounts of advertising, especially major amounts inside of, pay per click, you could reduce your ad spend. We're not going to be 100% replacing your ad spend necessarily, but what we can do is we can help you be able to reduce your ad spend so that way you're not spending so much out there and to where you're getting better results, because even your organic SEO is even going to help your scores inside of those ad spends to where it'll naturally lower your cost because you're putting all the data out there. You have the content, you have the authority, you have the trust. It's what it bases everything on.
Right. And I think we've kind of gotten all the way through this one today. So
I think so. And if anybody wants to join us on this podcast, let us know. We'd love to have you on. And if you enjoy this podcast, let us know inside of the comments. We would love to be able to hear from you and just be able to know that you are listening. It means the world to us, and we appreciate you joining. This is Dean, one of the co-founders here at Simply Power. A little different than I normally do. And I'm Rob. I'm one of the co-founders here as well. I've been doing this stuff for 30 plus years. Dean, you've been doing business for, I don't know how long.
My first business, I was 19 years old, so it's been a couple of years.
About 100 years ago. Okay.
So our experiences are awesome, everybody. So ask us questions. And I'd love to have somebody stump the panel on the question too.
Oh, yeah. I absolutely love when there's questions and answers and all that different stuff out there. It helps our AEO as well for how our whole entire infrastructure works. But
exactly.
Again, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, no matter where you're listening to it at. It means the world to us. And we look forward to hearing from you. If you want to talk to us direct, hit us up at simplybefound.com. Chat with us. Dean and I handle 100% of the conversations that are on there. So if you just want to have a chat, if you want to say, hey, you guys are a bunch of idiots, I hate listening to you, you can say that as well. Love to hear from you.
Fair enough.
There's not much you're going to say that would hurt my feelings. So
we've been called a lot of names over the last 5 years, I'm telling you. So we can handle it.
Oh, exactly. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Have a great day, guys.
Yep. Thank you for joining. Bye.